We had decided after all the years since I've lived up here, we moved back to this part of Canada 8 years ago. And 4 years ago this week, Michael Curran also moved back to Canada. He's from Montreal originally. And we decided just to come clean because Dr. Fazal Rahman from out at University at Western, and we do a lot of charity work together. And Michael runs the country for me, and he's the president. And what we do now is my wife and I just do all charity work now. We both came from very poor families, and we just wanted to make sure that we never changed. When our lives changed financially, we just made sure that we wanted to stay, and so we just really wanted to make sure that we help people that needed help. We pick 98% of all our charities, we pick ourselves. Now, Dr. Fazal has been able to help us on some of them, but my wife, the biggest one for her will always be children's hospitals. The one up at Sick Kids in Toronto and the one in London, and then the one that's very near to me is the one in Winnipeg. And we will always be tied to those. And you know, she had come to Canada. This September will be 25 years ago. She came to Canada, and so she's very special to children. So that's why we do big donations to those places. Well, so many rumors were flying everywhere, and you know what? Some of the charities just came to us and said, you know what? You should just come and just tell people what it is you do. And you know, the thing is that we know the charities we want to do because we're very, very tied to certain charities. There are, you know, a lot of it towards children. Heart and stroke, very, very big to us also. And we have certain other ones that Dr. Fazal Rahman has been with us. And that's how we go and pick them.
So I think it was about a year and a half ago that Mike and Lily Beth got connected with Sick Kids, and they did so through making a monthly donation, which was really, really, it's an incredible way for lots of people to support a place like Sick Kids. And they were very generous, and they shared their story about why supporting children is so important to them. And they have been incredibly generous, not only in their own giving of their own money, but Mike and Lily Beth have now given $1.5 million to Sick Kids, which is absolutely incredible in its own right. But $500,000 of that is actually been given as a matching donation. So it's an opportunity where they are saying to the community, you know, we're going to give $500,000, but we also want you to give to help us double the impact of that donation. And regardless of what amount, small, large, it doesn't really matter. It's about encouraging people to really give back and support others in the community in whatever way that they can. So that's inspiring for us, you know, and I feel very, very honored to work with Mike and Lily Beth and see their generosity firsthand, because it's very inspiring.
Okay. So apart from the medical charities and the charities dealing with disadvantaged populations, he also supports his church. You know, spirituality is very important to him, and he's done a lot of things to support the local church here in Leamington. He's given over $3 million to help with the building of this church. Okay, so a big contributor to that, and to raise the kind of money needed for a church and a new church in Leamington is not an easy task in a small community, and so he wanted to support his community here in Leamington. And then lastly, but not least, is the scholastic system, the school system, which often gets neglected, to be honest, and is underfunded by the government. And he has very generously funded the postgraduate education of the current grade, going into grade 10 class at a local high school here. And there's 40 children in that class of different socioeconomic backgrounds, but many of them have financial challenges. So he's going to be funding their postgraduate education in the amount of $10,000 per year for 4 years for each of those children, okay, to cover tuition. And maybe that will help uplift some of the kids and give them opportunities that they wouldn't otherwise have had. I can speak from the medical school program where I teach that there are kids who don't go to medical school because they can't afford the tuition, right? So it does affect, even with loans and other grants that you can apply for, it affects the decision of kids to go into postgraduate training, either in university or colleges or trade school. So that will be a huge advantage to the local Leamington community. I think that's what we're here today to celebrate, is his support of the school system and his support of the kids of Leamington.
So I received a call from Mr. Schlater the day of graduation in June, middle of June, propositioning me with this bursary for my students. So I was quite taken aback, quite elated by the news. But after some further discussion, we decided we needed to go through the board to get verification. And when all was said and done, the very last day of school, when our students had graduated, we invited all parents of our grade 8 class to come to the classroom to be informed of the great news. And it was, as I mentioned earlier, it was a surreal moment in my career, such that when the news was released, the feeling was initially, is this a joke? To shock, to disbelief, to tears of joy from a lot of parents as when it sunk in, they realized this was quite a gift to them.
Well, obviously, first of all, we're extremely grateful for this very generous gift that's coming from Mr. Schlater, and I think that by actually revealing his identity to the people here, that this is a great way to reassure any parents out there who might have had some concerns about the legitimacy of the donation. I believe Mr. Schlater has a proven track record of philanthropy, not just in this area, but provincially as well. He's done a lot of really wonderful things for a lot of people, and he's a well-known member of the community, and I think by revealing his identity to the parents and to the community, I think that will reassure a lot of those people.
Don't be afraid to help. Don't be afraid to help charities. I'm not here pushing a charity. I'm not saying this charity, that charity. The reason we showed the charities that we're here and the ones that are in this interview we're showing is just to show that this isn't us just saying, oh, we do this and we do that. It's just to show the sincerity that this is what we do. And, you know, some people think they're going to go do it. As well, I'll do this or I'll do that. And then 1 year goes by and the next year goes by. And then sometimes they just never get around to it. And I'll tell you one of my stories I'll never forget. When I met my wife, I still remember her telling me that she would always give $20 every month to sick kids in Toronto because she was a nanny in Toronto. And she was sending money to help the family back in the Philippines. And I thought, wow, that's so neat because and to her, like $20 was just a lot of money. And so, you know, that $20 means a lot because they get lots of people. And I thought, wow. Now, my other part of it is, then you get people that just have millions and millions that sit in the bank that don't give anything, and I'll never understand that. But because we're very blessed to be where we are, and trust me, I am not bragging saying, oh, we got all this money, but you know what? We're blessed to be where we are, so that's why we do what we do with this money to help the charities and the different things.